Welcome back to the finals. Vintage Champs, North America, Eternal Weekend 2023. This is it, Steve. It all comes down to this, and I couldn't be happier. Now, we've got a mirror match, and this is going to be an explosive one. Steve, this has been just an exciting conclusion to bring us to this point.
Well, if you are looking for fun, explosive vintage decks, you are in the right place. These are not grindies. These are not, the eke it out. This is bombastic, big ball in plays. And it's been so much fun to watch that come through the top eight. I'm actually really excited for this finals. Both these players have played superbly well. They've shown restraint. They've picked their spots. And they've made excellent decisions on mulligans and otherwise. And most excitingly, maybe for me, are the singleton choices that we have here.
And we'll see how those come out to play in match. So let's first talk about what these players are playing for. So obviously, priority number one, take home that Black Lotus painting, right? It's become a mainstay of Eternal Weekend, Vintage Champs, that the painting is the thing. The painting represents the pinnacle. There's also some excellent cash prizes, of course, and some supplies on the line here too. And all these players have already received their very unique Mental Misstep promo. So let's first talk about who brings us this wonderful event every year. You know him, inside and out. Card Titan brings us to this event and has for years. They're offering a promo code of 10% off this month. Eternal Weekend 2023 is the code. And we're also brought to you today by GameGenic. They have the same code for their supplies, also 10% off Eternal Weekend 2023, and we thank them for their support. Let's go down then to look at what players we have lined up here for our final. We've already said it. This is a Jewel Shop mirror. Oh, here's our top 8 players right here. We've seen most of them on camera here in the last couple of hours. Congratulations to all of them. Enjoy your mental missteps. And we'll see who comes away with the painting. It will be between Anthony Valentine and Tom Basketball. Now, Tom is the second place player at the end of the Swiss, so Tom should be on the play in this final match. And that is, as we've seen, a huge advantage. I mean, these decks are explosive. They're going to trade blows. Here you see that Tom was top 8 in this event back in 2019 also happens to be the current middle school world champion, which is cool. He points out Lotus Petal in his deck list as a slightly more reliable Mox Opal. Anthony similarly points out that Transmute artifact has overperformed all weekend, and we've seen him win some games just in the last couple hours with Displacer Kitten. Be fun to see how those slight differences in their decks inform this matchup and indeed the fate of this archetype and this whole format going forward. Players are off to the races. Oh, wow, Steve. Workshop Trinisphere.
Just called it once its plays back, yes.
A personal favorite of mine, and let's see how disruptive that is for Anthony. Anthony leads with a Workshop Grim Monolith, a very good response.
Excellent response. But it does prevent him from playing a Mox there, Mox in, really the explosive opening. Tom is not going to be able to cast. There he goes. Has to tap his shot to cast a Mox, which he presumably just drew.
Right.
And then 3 mana to cast Time Bolt. So there you go. Tap Mishra's Workshop to cast the Mox. Tap the Mox in the City of Traders to cast Time Bolt.
Within the context of this mirror match, this Time Vault under a Trinisphere is very threatening.
Very. He can just tap a key and win the game next turn. So Anthony, see, the thing is, if Anthony has a jewel here, though, he can play it and then tap the jewel to pitch a Force of Will. So,
Anthony is not without options here to progress his game state, but still fight. Very interesting to see.
The thing is, so it really comes down to if he has a Force of Will and a blue card, he has to keep 3 mana up. Well, that's not going to be an issue at this point.
Looks like mana only comes in 3s for Anthony this game. There's an Opal.
You spoke too soon.
Right. Now, looking at Anthony's hand, he has a Pearl, he has a Ring. Oh, he's tapping out PO. How very interesting. PO for 3.
I think that signals that he does not have a Force, because otherwise, right, you would have just kept that up. But you could also PO at your opponent's end step. You don't have to do it now.
Well, he does have 3 mana floating from that PO, because he pooled 7.
My mistake.
So he is going to get to redeploy one of them and keep Force up if he has. And sure enough, he drew into it. He does have Force of Will. He needs to discard the hand size, though. There goes Mox Pearl. Let's see what Tom has.
Okay.
Oh, he has the key, but he also
sure
has
does.
Karn.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Okay, so
fascinating. Force of will for Anthony.
has to be.
Oh,
Yep.
Tom really wishes he could
Thomas,
cast that Karn first.
if only he hadn't played his own Trinisphere. Just kidding. He's still just a mana off of the Karn. But
Oh,
what
agonizing. Just near miss for Tom there. Karn is still a great card. It could still swing this game in his favor, so it's not like this
just
game is over. Anthony's redeploying his mana sources. I expect to see Mana Vault here. Oh, he has Mox Sapphire now.
the best one.
There's Urza Saga. This explains the discard of the Pearl from last turn a little bit more. 4 mana for the ring.
Ring. It's what I would have put my money on. Just to emphasize to everyone, we are in the Vintage Championship Finals right now. So this is for all the marbles. I mean, this is it, right? This is it. This is fascinating. I mean, this demonstrates the game state where both players have, gone for it. They've gone for it and been answered. That key
Anthony
vault.
did find another Force. He has Force plus Metamorph in his hand. Oh no, Tom with no play.
Drago.
He has his own Force of Will now and can cast it. Anthony rolling up his Saga. Choosing
Really,
to cast before using the ring. Nope, there he
Tom
goes.
has one turn to draw something to be able to play the Karn. He's got to be able to play that Karn.
Yes, and it's debatable whether or not that's going to be good enough at this point even.
It might be too late. Yeah.
Yep. Anthony's still with a delicate situation here. He's got to be careful. Is he going to seal the deal on this turn? Does he have to, as you said, pass? Oh, there's his own Karn. Force of Will for Tom. Both players trading haymakers met with 3 mana Force of Wills. Okay.
That would have definitely been game.
And Anthony is tapped low now. He doesn't have any other mana in his pool. Oh, strike that. I must have been wrong. He must have had something left in his pool because he just played
that?
That's a Manifold Key.
Okay. An unusual art Manifold Key.
That's right. It's a newer art. The of note, that key does also represent Force of Will here, basically.
Kevin, he drew Shop. This is not.
Does he have a jewel? He does have a jewel.
Oh my god!
Here's the key. Yep, here's the key activation, giving Anthony the 3 mana necessary to force, which we know he had, pitching Metamorph. Oh no, sorry, he pitched the Metamorph already. No, wait, he's still holding a Metamorph. He drew into that other force.
Stickening. That's it then.
That's interesting.
He can metamorph off the Shop and then copy the Time Vault, and that should be it.
You're right. And here you've been saying it all afternoon, Steve. The hazards of having your own Time Vault in play in a Metamorph mirror. And here we're going to see it, aren't we?
I mean, he's going to punish Tom for playing his own Time Vault. Yes, sir. Thank you for that. I will take all the turns.
And given Tom's mana situation, he knows that Tom can't respond. Oh, Tom also only has 1 card in hand. So Anthony has free reign here. This Saga, Trigger, and Search is, I think, mostly irrelevant.
It is. Just don't get something that kills yourself. There you go. They can do it directly.
The key. Yeah. Now, it's worth noting that unbounded turns with the ring is not deterministic. I mean, he does have to find an alternate victory before the ring kills him. Not that that's difficult.
No, he has Urza Sagas in his deck. So
absolutely. So, I mean, I would still expect Tom to scoop to this Metamorph here.
Absolutely. If Tom had just drawn 1 non-shop mana source the turn before, I think Tom would have won with that card. He would have prevented the ring from being activated at 2, and all the other mana except for the workshops would be turned off. So here we go. Oh, he's just going to slow roll it. Come on,
dude. A jewel. Yep.
Just show the Metamorph.
Here's a Metamorph.
He's copying.
Wait a second. Did he point to his?
He did. He's copying the jewel. He can just win right now.
Wow. I think that Anthony doesn't see the copy Time Vault line. Well, it's not going to matter, though, because he's transmuting the ring, getting rid of it, just as we said.
There we go.
But here, look, Steve, this is the one of transmute paying a pivotal role. It's the deal ender in this game.
Yes.
Anthony rewarded for his deck construction. All right, Anthony's up one game. Let's talk just a little bit about how these decks sideboard for this matchup.
Kevin, before we do that, we should mention that Anthony stole the play. He stole game one on the draw. So
well, that's a good point. Yeah, he broke serve that time.
Little cameo from Abe Corson here, head judge.
That's right.
Okay, so sideboards.
Right.
Both players are going to be bringing in force of negation. Give them a little bit more force of willpower here.
That's right. And gosh, this is really interesting. It's going to demonstrate how the players view their role in the matchup, right? Do you want to be the faster combo deck, in which point you bring in things like the Mightstone and Weakstone out of Tom's sideboard that helps you go slightly faster, and the additional one ring from Anthony's sideboard, again, helping you go a little bit faster. But then you're right, it's hard to say no to a little bit of extra defense in that force of negation, isn't it? I think we're going to see very slight changes, one or two cards from both players.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can watch Anthony.
So also
execute his
on the draw.
here.
On the draw, you're probably going to sideboard out Trinisphere. That's going to come out.
Yes, wow. Good point. There you go, Anthony. Yep. Anthony's pulling out his Trinisphere. There's a Hercules Recall, Chain of Vapor, Force of Negation. Okay, 3 cards for Anthony, and you called it. The Trinisphere came out. Is he going to show us the other 3? There's 1 Grim, Trinisphere, and a Saga. Interesting. Saga coming out on the draw. I would not have predicted that, but I predict that Anthony knows this matchup better than I do.
Just that 1 transmute just seems like such a nice advantage for Anthony. The Displacer Kitten also, I have to say, is impressive. It's not necessarily
Tom selecting his sideboard cards here, it looks, which helps us from a coverage standpoint.
When you look at these 2 deck lists, do you have a read on which one you think is like more aggressive in general in terms of being explosive?
I mean, they're so close in construction.
Yeah.
They both have 4 jewels, of course. Yes. Anthony only has 3 rings in the main, but the 4th ring slot is taken up by that kitten, which we've seen actually be a more explosive card.
He's moved the 4th ring to the sideboard of note.
Right, which you can get with card if you want, or just bring it in post sideboard. And we've already discussed at length Anthony's transmute. I have to feel like that favors him from a speed standpoint.
Absolutely.
I think that Anthony has a decided speed advantage with those couple of singletons.
And he also has more blue. Right?
Good point. So both decks have 4 outcomes and 4 forces and Ancestral and Tinker and Walk, as you can imagine. And then Seagate Restoration times 1 in both lists. So really, it's just that transmute that gives Anthony 1 additional blue card.
Both players with 4 Metamorphs. And the Displacer Kit.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Nope, you're right. 2 additional blue cards for Anthony. That's right. So his Force of Wills are slightly more reliable in that sense, too.
He also has a little bit more blue production because he's got Otawara. I really, really like. Okay, no. So Tom has an island in that slot. Yeah,
Tom has an island in that slot. Yep.
I really, really like Anthony's deck list. It's super cool.
Yeah, I think on paper I agree with you. I think I would have said that I preferred his slightly, and in practice, I think we've seen the differences borne out. I mean, the Displacer Kitten has been just an easy mode button for him, basically, in the end game in some of these matches.
Yes. It also just demonstrates this. I mean, he's in other words designing his deck, emphasizing the jewel a little bit more, which I like.
So Tom will be back on the play this game. Both players are finished sideboarding, and the shuffling continues.
Again, Tom began that turn with Trinisphere, which is a very reasonable play when you're, in fact, a very, very powerful play when you're on the play, to be able to prevent your opponent from playing, the many Moxen and efficient artifact accelerants. It really kind of puts you into a slog. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what Tom wanted to do. Tom played Trinisphere, and then he was aiming to play a quick Karn. Remind me what he played in between the Karn and the Trinisphere, Kevin?
Well, he played the turn 2 Time Vault.
There
he
you
had
go.
City of Traders, Mox Emerald, and a Time Vault on turn 2, which was so threatening.
Yes. It was really a good
workshops and Grims.
Yeah. If he had just drawn one non-shop source in that particular turn,
Right.
which I think was turn 3, he would have been able to deploy the Karn, and I think swung far ahead. Now Anthony did have a pair of shops, so he would have been able to stay in the game, but he would not have been able to play his own Karn.
That's
That's for
right.
sure.
That's right.
So he could have played his the Jewel, drawn some cards, and Metamorphs and drawn more cards, but the game would have unfolded very differently.
Completely agree. All right. Players are exchanging shuffles here. We'll see how the mulligans go. The Black Lotus painting looms.
It looms. Anthony Valentine, 1 game away, everyone, from
Mu-
the Vintage
Triple
Championship.
Ancient Tombs.
Oh, oh, so he's got Tinker, but no blue. Kevin, oh, and on the other side, Tom again, Ancestral Recall and
No
no
blue.
blue.
Both players making similar choices right now. Excellent blue haymakers. No access to play them just yet. Tom has a path to his though in Saga, but
He's
he is
mulliganing.
neither
He's
player going
take.
to keep their hand.
They're both. I love the discipline. I
Yeah.
love the discipline.
Of
That
note,
discipline. That discipline feels a little bit more rewarding for Anthony because he's up a game.
that totally agree. Of note that neither player had access to force of will there either to play defense with that hand. They were both just going to hang it out there and hope. And on 5 cards earlier, that worked for Anthony when he ripped a jewel off the top. But
Sure did.
game 2 of the finals, you're up a game for Anthony on the draw. Yeah, I think you got to have either super good hand or one that can play a little bit of defense.
And both players have 5 force of wills right now because they have the negation in there. So you really do need one of those, especially if you're on the draw.
All right, Tom's on the play, so Anthony is waiting patiently for Tom to make his choice. Both players have kept. Okay, I presume they're both on 6. Here's Emerald into Lotus for Tom.
I'm seeing a Trinisphere again. So are we going to see Trinisphere?
Oh, wow. It didn't pan out for Tom
brother.
last time. Let's see about this
lot
one.
of this game, a lot of this game is going to hinge on how much that really constricts Anthony, right?
Okay, so Tom plays a tapped Seagate.
Tom is under his own Trinisphere here.
Anthony has
And
Ancient
Anthony's
Tomb
just going to
Go.
play a Soul Land. Yep.
No workshop for Anthony this game. Hey, this basic island for
see.
Tom into
That
Sapphire.
we see.
Yeah, that's true. That's true that we see.
One other thing that should be noted is the interaction between Trinisphere and PO.
Whoa. Wow. Second tomb into Karn for Anthony. What a response to that Trinisphere. Oh, incredible. This is doubly good for Anthony.
That's it.
Oh, congratulations, Anthony, winner of Vintage Champs 2023. Wow, that game was fascinating. I mean, obviously for our audience, it was so brief. It was such a brief game, right? But this like Vintage, right? So many decisions baked into just everything that happened in that game, from the sideboarding to the pregame deck construction before that. I mean, wow, that's fascinating. Congratulations, Anthony. What do you think, Steve?
I think we have a decisive best deck in this format. And I think it's been demonstrated. And man, Anthony was an absolute master with this. So what an amazing finish. This was incredible finals, an incredible tournament. Pleasure to be with you, Kevin.
Absolutely. You as well, Steve. Wouldn't have it any other way. Hey, let's look at this final bracket. So again, congratulations to Anthony Valentine, our vintage champ, new Black Lotus art and large card owner. And just what a great weekend we've had. Couldn't agree more with your observations about what we've learned about the field here, Steve. But you know that in the leagues and in the challenges next weekend, players are going to be adapting to this Jewel Shop deck, and we're going to see how the vintage metagame evolves, because it always does. Congratulations again to Anthony, our vintage champ. I hope that we hear from him in some interview style or article style here at some point soon. But that's going to do it for us here today. On behalf of Card Titan, on behalf of you, Steve, thanks as always. And congratulations to Anthony and all the players in the top 8. This is us signing off from Eternal Weekend. Thank you very much.